Welcome to the Scaringi Law Lunch Break. This is your time of the day to learn a little bit about the law while you enjoy your lunch. The Catholic Church has been the center of attention for the past several months because of the recent release of the Pennsylvania Grand Jury Investigation Report detailing decades-long child sexual abuse incidents occurring within the Catholic Church in Pennsylvania. Pope Francis has been criticized for his reaction. In his first official written response, the Pope talked about the need to pray, fast, and forgive. But most people want a much stronger response from the Pope. Yesterday, the Pope delivered a homily to the U.S. Catholic Bishops' Conference, in which it seemed as if he was attacking the victims. He said, "Among us is the great accuser, who always goes to accuse us before God in order to destroy us. Satan. He's the great accuser. When I enter into this logic of accusing, cursing, trying to hurt the other, I enter into the logic of the great accuser, who is destructive, who does not know the word mercy." Many were stunned that the Pope seemingly would compare victims of child sexual abuse at the hands of priests to Satan. Also, there are new reports that Pope Francis, while Archbishop of the Archdiocese of Buenos Aires, commissioned a 4-book study in 2010 that defended a priest, Father Grassi, who was convicted of molesting a teenage boy. The study also claimed his victims were false accusers, and their accusations were just ways of projecting their own sexual desires onto the priest. The Pope reportedly sent the study to each member of the Argentina State Supreme Court, the court that had jurisdiction over the trial of Father Grassi. The study was also delivered to the appeals court, and this is highly improper for the Pope to do. In the Pope's written response to the grand jury investigation report, he wrote, "He's conscious of the effort and work being carried out in various parts of the world to come up with the necessary means to ensure the safety and protection of the integrity of children. But in my view, deferring to others and being conscious of their efforts is not leadership. And several of these church leaders the Pope is deferring to, including the Bishop of the Diocese of Harrisburg, are faulted by the grand jury report for how they handled the abuse in the first place." It's becoming increasingly evident that Pope Francis has taken a position to defend the Catholic Church at all costs, even in the face of the obvious massive cover-up by its leadership of child sexual abuse by priests within its ranks. Because the Pope has taken this position, it's more important than ever for members of the United States Congress and the Pennsylvania General Assembly to declare the Catholic Church a corrupt organization, to amend our laws to make it easier for prosecutors to prosecute church leadership. Now, under current criminal law, it's very difficult to prosecute a church official who did not himself commit the abuse, but instead knowingly covered it up. Although the Philadelphia District Attorney did obtain a conviction of Monsignor Lynn under a child endangerment statute, but still, it's a tough job to accomplish because the law is not quite on point. The Pennsylvania General Assembly or the United States Congress, they can make it easier for prosecutors to target the leadership of the church for knowingly covering up child sexual abuse by amending the Racketeer Influenced and Corrupt Organizations Act, which we know as RICO, to, among other changes, include as a predicate act the sexual abuse of a child. RICO is a federal law created in 1978 to combat organized crime, and most of the 50 states have state RICO versions themselves. But RICO enables prosecutors to go after the criminal organization itself and its leadership, rather than targeting the specific criminal acts of the individual priests or the individuals connected to the organization. It was created to go after the mafia bosses. Currently, child sexual abuse, or any sex abuse, is not one of the predicate offenses for which a prosecutor can bring a RICO claim. So the statute would need to be amended accordingly. But this powerful statute could be used to punish church leaders criminally for covering up the sexual abuse of children by priests and to compel the church to make the internal reforms necessary to achieve the goals of the grand jury report and to achieve the goals that it doesn't look like Pope Francis is going to achieve on his own. The Church will not reform itself, and certainly with this Pope at its helm. It's time for our legislators and prosecutors to change the culture of the Church for it, and to help parents protect their most precious of God's gifts, their children. I would like to talk more about this very critical issue confronting parents and children, parishioners across Pennsylvania today, but that's about all the time we have for the Scaringi Law Lunch Break. If you have a question about child sexual abuse in the Catholic Church or in any organization, and civil and criminal remedies that may be available, call 717-657-7770. Well, I hope you learned a little bit about the law today, and as always, enjoy your lunch.